Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today because we're tackling something that, let's be real, pretty much all of us struggle with at some point. If you've ever felt completely, just literally drained by your own good intentions, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the hidden toll of being the constantly accommodating, nice person. You know the type. We're going to look at the hard psychology behind why your chronic compliance is actually draining your life force. But more importantly, we'll see how we can structure a totally new approach to get that emotional vitality back. So let's jump right into it.
So why does saying yes feel so incredibly exhausting? Just think about a recent time when someone asked you for a favor. Maybe, a colleague asked you to take on an extra project late on a Friday afternoon. Or a friend invited you to this big social get-together when secretly all you wanted to do was just crash on the couch and rest. What did you do? You smiled, you nodded, you said, "Oh, of course, no problem." But inside, oh man, your energy just plummeted. We have this tendency to think that being agreeable is the easy path, like the path of least resistance, right? But if it's so easy, why does it leave us feeling completely and utterly depleted?
Okay, let's dive into this and look at Section 1, the cost of compliance, or really the heavy price of chronic people-pleasing, because this is where we see how this behavior literally diminishes our emotional energy.
Because listen, this isn't just about being a little tired at the end of the week. We're dealing with a massive fundamental conflict here. On one hand, you have outward compliance. This is basically the script society hands us, right? It's that intense pressure to say yes to every single work request, to show up to every social event, to be that rock-solid, reliable person who never, ever lets anyone down. But then on the flip side, we have internal resistance. This is that hidden, entirely ignored desire to just say no. And here's the kicker. When you're outwardly agreeing but inwardly resisting, you are forcing your brain to hold two completely opposing realities at the exact same time. It's like a tug-of-war. The friction between your outward plastered-on smile and your inward exhaustion, that is exactly where your emotional energy just burns up.
Which naturally brings us to Section 2, defining self-abandonment. This is where we put a formal psychological name to this invisible drain on your energy, so you can see it's really not just some personal flaw.
So the crucial point is this exact concept right here, self-abandonment. I mean, really think about the weight of that phrase for a second. By constantly prioritizing everyone else's needs, we are quite literally abandoning ourselves. And the psychology is crystal clear on what happens next. It drains your emotional resources, for sure, but even more heartbreakingly, it severely reduces your capacity for self-expression. When you spend all your time, all your waking hours, molding yourself to fit what everyone else needs, you just lose the bandwidth to express who you actually are. Your unique voice, your passions, your actual desires, they just get totally muted.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 3, the anatomy of overextension, which maps out the predictable, chronological downward spiral of saying yes.
Because look, this total loss of self-expression, it doesn't just happen overnight. It's a journey. Let's walk downward through this script of compliance step by step. It always starts innocently enough. At step 1, overextension. You take on just a little too much, which naturally leads right into step 2, fatigue. You're exhausted, but, you just push through. But here's the thing, you can't push through forever. So that fatigue ferments, it sours into step 3, resentment. You actually start feeling bitter toward the very people you agreed to help in the first place. And finally, if this is left unchecked, we hit rock bottom at step 4, emotional flattening. This is where you just feel numb. The joy is gone, the spark is completely gone, you're just going through the motions, totally disconnected from your own life. It's a really profoundly draining reality to find yourself in.
And we really have to grasp the true impact of living in this state of obligation, because saying yes purely out of guilt isn't just some harmless little act of politeness. It's actually destructive. It actively erodes your personal boundaries. It fundamentally destroys your personal fulfillment because, well, you're living your life for everyone else, not yourself. And over time, it physically and psychologically diminishes your overall emotional energy capacity. You are literally shrinking your own ability to feel and engage deeply with anything at all.
But here's the good news. Let's shift gears and look at Section 4, reclaiming emotional vitality, and the powerful cognitive reframe that is the ultimate solution to all of this.
Just listen to this. You are not selfish for protecting your energy. And this brilliantly illustrates the core shift we need to make. For so long, right, the societal script has made us feel this massive cognitive dissonance, this intense guilt, anytime we even think about prioritizing ourselves. We're conditioned to think that saying no means we're being mean or unhelpful or a bad friend. But this reframe, it changes everything.
Protecting your energy is not an act of selfishness at all. It is an act of basic self-preservation. It is the absolute, non-negotiable maintenance required to just be a functioning, healthy human being.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the crystal clear choice it presents us. We are basically looking at two totally different ways to live your life. You can stick with the old way, living the script of compliance, which as we now know guarantees a life of draining, resentment-filled obligations, or you can choose the new way, the reality of vitality. This is where breaking that old script actually leads us. It leads to authentic engagement. But notice the key mechanism there. It is achieved through strong boundaries. Boundaries are literally the bridge that takes you away from resentment and brings you straight back to vitality.
When we finally get the courage to set those boundaries, some pretty incredible things happen. First off, it fiercely protects your emotional energy from that invisible drain we talked about. Second, it completely restores your personal vitality. Remember that spark? That life force, that emotional flattening stripped away? It comes rushing back. And third, it allows for genuine, authentic engagement with the world around you. Think about it. When you start saying yes because you actually want to, rather than because you feel obligated to, your relationships improve. Your work gets better. You actually show up as your true, vibrant self and not just some exhausted shadow of who you used to be.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final challenge. We've looked at the psychology. We know the heavy cost of self-abandonment, and we know the sheer power of this new reframe. So, if boundaries restore your vitality, what are you going to say no to today? Seriously, what is one single obligation you can decline right now to reclaim a piece of your emotional energy? Think about it. Take that power back. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.